interview with Marc, a fellow member of Outlaws Rugby Club. What we're going to do, Marc, is just speak about a number of set questions, just to find out your experiences of the Outlaws Rugby Club, and how if it's changed your views on anything that you may not have been aware of before. So I'm Scott Rosborough. I joined the club now, nearly 5 years ago. I'm not a committee member any longer. I used to be doing recruitment and stuff, but stepped back just before this terrible virus, thank goodness. I normally play 9 or wing. So it's interesting, my sexual orientation, I decided I'm open, take from that as in what you will. My pronouns officially is Lord, but it is him and his. So Marc, if you could just do the same, give us a quick brief of obviously your name, where you play, how long you played for, etc.
Yeah, my name's Marc. I've been with the club 6-7 years, possibly now. Played for a little while, had 2 kids, and came back after about a 4-year break. I play 11, 14, 15, sometimes 13. Now my sexual orientation is straight, and my pronouns are he and him.
Oh, fab, thank you. It is literally just a set of nine questions, like Simon's explained, but we'll try and be quite open, hopefully, with our answers. And if you've got any sort of questions you'd like to ask me in return from what you've said, then obviously that would be ideal.
Cool.
So the first one is, what comes to your mind when you think about LGBT places? So whether that be nightclubs or social events, what sort of comes to your mind about the LGBT environment?
I think it's something that's got a lot of stigma around it, but personally, I think it's just another place where people can go to be themselves, and if that's what it needs to be to make them feel comfortable at the moment, brilliant. Ultimately, hopefully it won't be like that forever. Hopefully it's just a bar or this, that. It's neither here nor there, but if that's a place a group of people can go to feel safe and comfortable, then brilliant, I guess. But yeah, it's neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned.
Brilliant. So just thinking about that, you sort of say you recognise it as being needed, and there's a chance that in time, hopefully, it won't be needed. Do you think by having LGBT only places that can form a natural divide between different elements of the community?
Depending on your opinion, possibly, but I don't think it should. Those that have understanding of who have been there or been around the community, they wouldn't see it as a divide. But those that have little understanding or experience around people in that community, it might class it as a divide, possibly.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't feel it's a divide. It's something that it's just a place where people can go to feel safe and meet others within the same community. And if it helps them out in any way, shape, or form, then brilliant, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't think that it would cause any sort of this is a straight only club, this is a gay club sort of environment? You
no, because I think you understand what LGBTQ is to an extent. You know, it includes every man and his dog. It's literally everyone, allies included. So if you have any form of understanding, you know it's not just a certain community. It is quite literally everybody. It's a place for everybody, regardless of how you identify.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. So thanks so much for that. It's good to hear different people's points of view and their way of thinking almost is quite interesting. So just looking back, have you played for any other rugby clubs over the years? So it is just the Outlaws.
Well, literally just the Outlaws, yeah.
Yeah. So from that, before joining the Outlaws, what was your opinion or mindset around other rugby clubs? So in essence, a non-inclusive rugby club. What was your mindset about that? Did you have any sort of conscious bias sort of opinion?
To be fair, no. I've always enjoyed watching it. I used to enjoy playing it as a kid. I've got lots of friends who used to play in the village. I was at Long Buckby. They're big into it. I've always wanted to. I haven't didn't really know much about what the clubs. Now I know like normal clubs. I say no, normal class. That's the wrong choice of words, but non-inclusive clubs. There's a lot of, I don't know, a lot of macho challenges and a lot of, I don't know. It's just the sort of things that I don't think I'd feel comfortable in. They expect a certain level of performance when you go in. In my opinion, that's what they'd expect. And I know I was nowhere near a level where I thought I could have joined any other team, I suppose. But now, obviously, after being with the Outlaws, I know that's absolutely irrelevant. I like to think any club would accept anyone, but I know Outlaws was definitely the best place for me to start, and it's definitely the only place I'm ever going to be as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. No, that's good. You interestingly, I'm not going to dwell on it. You use the word normal.
Yeah, instinctively, I went to that, which is a bit of bang up word. Yeah, that was.
No, I don't think it's out of order. It's the word that comes to most people's mind when they think about something. So yeah, I would agree with you. A mainstream rugby club is a mainstream rugby club, and in essence, because there are considerably more of them,
yeah,
that makes them normal, doesn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
When it's something different, it's then outside the norm per se. So yeah, I don't apologise for using the term normal. I think in time, hopefully there won't be a need for a club like the Outlaws. It will be across the board. Everything will be the same. But that's a journey, isn't it?
Agreed. Yeah.
So I'm actually going to change the next question slightly. Simon will probably moan. So I'll read to you what the initial question was. So, what did you think a gay club would be like? So I'm going to change that and say, what do you think a inclusive club would be like in comparison to the teams, the traditional rugby club? What was your element of difference between those?
You know what? I'm not quite sure what I would have expected prior to going in. I was well aware it was an inclusive team when I went in, but I've got family members who were gay and stuff like that, so I've never seen it as something to be afraid of or something to be worried about. All I'd expected to be more accepting than the average, I suppose, because I'm not like the most, let's say, social people. I'm not, I don't know. I'm not I don't know. I'm not used to going around and about groups of mates, this, that, and the other. And this is a sort of place I know I could feel comfortable, and it's a team that would allow me to take my time getting to where I want to be and eventually get there, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. So from the previous question, we touched on that you felt it was quite a masculine, boisterous, maybe environment where it's maybe a little bit lads sort of concept. Did you think that would be the same from an inclusive club or somewhat different?
Prior to meeting, I would have guessed probably not so much, but after meeting everybody, it's absolutely, you get that sort of banter all day long anyway. It's brilliant. I wouldn't have expected, I suppose, without meeting anyone, but as soon as I met the team, I just expected it to be a good laugh all around, regardless of their orientation. It doesn't make a difference. Everyone they can take a joke, they can have a bit of a laugh, take the piss. It's just a good, comfortable place to be.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Brilliant. So when do you think your concept of the two different elements, so from the very lads environment to the inclusive environment, did you think that your opinion changed all of a sudden, or do you think that was just across the board, that was your mindset?
No, I'm sure my opinion must have changed over the course of time after initially meeting a team and then having a few nights out and meeting other clubs and whatnot. I think my opinion must have changed, but if anything, it just came more accepting. As far as I was aware, I was very accepting of the community prior, but I'm sure there was ways where I felt, this is out of my comfort zone, and eventually it just became part of everyday life, and it's just neither here nor there. So I'm sure over time, it must have changed, only for the more accepting, for the better.
Yeah.
But I was conscious of it's neither here nor there as far as I'm concerned. As long as someone's happy, it's irrelevant if they're the same orientation as me or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So you wouldn't say you've sort of had any sort of negative experiences from being an inclusive team? You think when you go and play other teams in league games who are non-inclusive, it's all very much the same and it's quite accepted, or do you think you've noticed any sort of different elements?
Obviously working in Northampton as well, I've bumped into a few people who are aware of the Outlaws, and we're known as the gay team. So I feel that people's opinion is we can't be as good because we're the gay team, we're that team sort of thing. But I think anyone who's ever met us, played with us, played against us, I think their opinions are hopefully turned for the more accepting. And it's just those that aren't familiar with us, who haven't played with us, or talked to us, or spoke to us. I would like to think they're the ones that have got that type of stigma around us sort of thing, who believe we're the gay team. But like I said, we're not with the inclusive team. And that's one thing I'll always bounce back, say, no, we're every man and his dog. We'll accept everyone, regardless of who they are, where they come from, what their orientation is. And I will always not fight, but I'll always put that defense in for the Outlaws, because I feel we need it. We need that support. We need to be accepted a bit more around Northampton, I suppose, everywhere. The whole community does.
Yeah. Okay. So interestingly, from my experience, I was saying earlier when I did my interview, I think people's perception of LGBT community has changed over time. I think it's very much a generational thing, and now it's almost on trend for the people that are 18 to 22, 23 to be open, or to be, have no real gender boundaries. I
definitely the younger generation. Yeah, I agree. The younger generation is definitely more accepting, because it's more the norm in their day to day. It isn't. You go to like 30, 40-year-olds, it's kind of no one was that because no one came out back then. It was always something they wanted to be careful of, because they're afraid of what people might think, what people might say. But now people are more out and proud, I suppose, because people are more accepting around them.
Yeah, and I think that's it, definitely, isn't it? And I look back at when I told my parents, and it wasn't overly a positive experience. But I would say I couldn't hold their opinion against them, because they only knew what they've been shown or been taught. And I look back and I think probably when they were growing up, it was actually illegal. It was illegal. You've got mental health issues or whatnot, and for them, I suppose that's what sticks, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Your childhood upbringing is your state of mind. So I think over a period of time, those mindsets have or will continue to change, and hopefully only for the better. So our next question is, the Outlaws as a club, has it changed your view of rugby clubs, teams? So has the team in itself changed your view? And when you've been on your social nights out and you've gone to inclusive venues, has that changed your impression of the people that attend them?
Not massively, I suppose, because it was a while before I went to any social events, I suppose, with the Outlaws, and by that point, I like to think I knew most of them quite well. But I suppose there were a few characters who felt clearly more comfortable on those nights out, and I've seen more people's true selves, I suppose. So it's got me more comfortable and accepting of, like, oh, brilliant, that's what they enjoy. That's fair play and whatever. It's something I've not been used to. I've not been, I won't say I wasn't comfortable around, but it's something I've never been around. I've learned to accept, just be comfortable around anything and everything I see, as long as someone's happy. But yeah, it must have made me more accepting overall, but I didn't consciously notice it. Just over time, I just noticed more and more things, and it just was part of the norm, I suppose. Every time I see something like out of the ordinary, let's say.
Okay, so when was the first time that you went on a night out to the gay scene per se? When was the first time you did that?
I think it's when I came back after my breaks. I know, so I was with the team for probably a few months before I buggered my knee, and had a few kids. I don't recall going on a night out prior. I think I went to one awards night. I think that ended after the award night. I think we went home. So it would have been, what, 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, cool. So from that experience, you found that that the venue, being, as you said, a straight person, the venue was accepting of you, and you had no apprehension. So in essence, it was just a bog standard night out. There was nothing out of the.
Well, literally, just a place with the Outlaws, with your mates, having a laugh, having a dance, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. I think that's covered that. Earlier you spoke that you'd played for a short period of time, 4 or 5 months, then went off, had some children, and then came back. Prior to that, you said that you hadn't played for any other rugby teams. The Outlaws was the only one. But you had played at school, or?
Yeah. I played at school. I had mates who were mad into it, and I always enjoyed playing against them because I was usually one of the quicker ones. I always had a bit of fun with it, and I felt I could do something with. All that I had at the time was a bit of speed, but I liked to thought I still had that.
Was that playing in school a PE, or did you choose to play it as a additional sport where you go and play other teams on a Saturday type thing?
So mainly it was at school. But I did, like, in the park right behind my house. Me and a few of the mates were pretty much running around the rugby ball, like trying to get past each other and tackle each other and stuff like that. Basically, lads being lads, I suppose, sort of thing, having a bit of fun with it, rough and tumble sort of thing. And I really enjoyed that sort of aspect of it.
Yeah. Okay, cool, brilliant. That's probably one of the easiest questions to ask, maybe, or I think we're getting easier as we've gone on. When you look back to your first training session,
yeah,
you can either use the one before the break or after. How did you feel prior to going to that session? Did you think a little bit, oh, I don't know what I'm going to expect, or did you know what to expect, or what was your kind of mindset prior to going, and how did you hear about the Outlaws? I know you said that those members of your family that were inclusive, did they give you any sort of advice or anything?
No, to be fair, quite literally, it was Tag. He worked, I think, worked for me at the time. Actually, he convinced me to come down. I said he didn't really focus on the whole inclusive part, but he just focused on it's a great bunch of lads playing rugby. He clocked that I would have been interested with it. I was a bit, I suppose, like, oh, what to expect initially, but he reassured me quite a lot that the guys are brilliant. They'll don't worry about anything, and they'll guide you through. So don't worry about messing up this, that, and the other. So he had me quite reassured before I came, and then I think almost immediately everyone was very much like, "Hi, how are you?" sort of thing, and don't worry about this. Just stick with us, and I'll show you what's what. So I was very comfortable, very fast. I think that's the reason I say, because I was accepted like damn near instantly, and I just felt comfortable off the bat, and it just felt like a good place to go, and it gave me a bit more motivation into like stay nice and healthy, part of a team, and something I've wanted for a good number of years. I just never got around to.
Okay, so you kind of see rugby as being part of a team, almost being part of a community, as it were.
Definitely.
And you feel like you could call on those people from the club if you needed them for any other reason other than the sport itself.
Definitely.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so obviously we just said that prior to your first training session, these thoughts went through your mind, and there was no sort of real apprehension, and you found out by a colleague that was also playing for the club back then.
Yep.
After your first session, how did you feel? Did you feel any different than before? Did you feel that it was quite welcoming? It was, it gave you that inspiration to come again?
If I'm honest, I don't remember exactly, but I know I didn't want to stop doing it. I had the drive to keep coming, even when he stopped coming here and there. I still had that drive to keep coming. I only initially stopped when I think I damaged my knee. I couldn't even walk for a few weeks, and then the missus popped up. She was pregnant, and then everything just came all at once. And then I just got in the habit of not coming, and then I just had to motivate myself once more after what?
Yeah.
4 years,
okay.
3 years.
in essence, everything came all at once. You damaged your knee and had a child, and that's why you had a little bit of time away. Sounds like you were very busy.
Yeah, kids. I think I was moving houses at the time as well.
Cool.
Yeah, everything just came at once, I think, for
that. So what advice would you give for a new player, or what advice would you give to a new player?
Probably come with an open mind. Don't just I don't know actually, but yeah, be open-minded. Don't have any preconceptions of, if they're not familiar with the LGBT community, don't come with any preconceptions. Just come with an open mind. I like to think that would encourage them to keep trying. I don't know. I just said be open-minded. Just be willing to accept help and know that there will be help and support there regardless of. Oh, Simon's gone. No recording.
It's still recording, I think.
Ah, that's cool. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'm host now. Okay.
He might cut us off and come back. Who knows? Okay, so that's great. If you 6-7 years ago was watching this discussion between yourself and I, and in your mind you thought, oh, shall I go and play? Shan't I go and play? You're a little bit reluctant, or thinking, oh, should I give it a go or not? I'd say your answer is probably yes. You should give it a go.
Most definitely. I'd make sure. Yeah, I'll tell myself I'll still be doing it in 7 years' time. It will be your motivation to keep healthy, to keep fit, keep social, and I'll gain a good network of friends that I'll probably keep forever, even long after the club. It's something that I'll always be thankful for, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So the final question is, in 3 words, describe what the Outlaws as a rugby club means to you. I'll give you a second to think about it, because I found it quite tricky, because actually 3 words really probably isn't enough. But it gives you a close, so to speak, of the process that we've been through.
All right. Family, motivation, and passion.
Brilliant. Okie dokie. That's great. Obviously, Simon has come back, has he? Yeah. But so we'll round it up there. I think we've covered everything that we've been asked to. It's been very interesting, Mark, and hopefully when you interview somebody else, it's as beneficial for you as it has been for me to do these little open conversations.
That's cool, mate. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the interview with an outlaw. If you like what you saw, please click like. And if this is the first time you're here, why not hit subscribe for more from our channel? We release 5 every Friday, so let's see who will pass it on next.